I feel very enthused about the information that I'm going to share. So just thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to see your face here today. My name is Victor Montgomery. I am the president of Atlanta BDPA chapter. I've been in this role a little over a year and a quarter right now, about a year and a few months. Really excited about what we have going on. Our objectives are twofold. So one, we want to focus on the professionals, that's you. So we want to ensure that we have activities that include you, that focus on you, that help inspire you, develop you, and promote you. So that's one focus. Our other focus is our students. So K through 12 STEM, that's a huge focus of ours. So we believe in developing youth for the future. So future technology, future whatever they want to do. So that's a really major focus of ours. To put perspective on that, we've grown our student chapter from about 10 students per year to over 75 students per year within a couple of years. So that's significant. We teach them full stack development. So what does that mean, full stack development? We teach them HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP. We throw in some templates with it. So if you're familiar with things like Bootstrap, we teach them how to use that. We teach them how to connect to servers. We teach them Java. Whatever we can do to expose the students to things that will lessen the intimidation when they get to college, we try to do that. So I will go through a few slides here just in regards to BDPA, and then we'll go through a little engagement piece that I will take you guys through, and then we will kind of go through my piece of the discussion. Now, as you hear everything, I will just get this out in the forefront. BDPA Atlanta is always looking for additional membership. Now, whether you heard about us through LinkedIn, Facebook, meetup.com, or you're an actual member, we're always looking for members, and we're always looking for people to get involved. Whether that's through speaking or connecting us to speakers, we need you. So as you hear the conversation that's going on, feel free to participate. It's not a one-man show by any means, so I expect you to engage in the dialogue, but also think about how you can play a role as well as we're going through this. Again, I know some of you, this is your very first time maybe even hearing about BDP Atlanta, so I'll go through a little bit more information in regards to the organization itself, but definitely consider being a member as well as consider being more involved as you hear more information. All right. So first, how many of you, this is your very first time at a BDPA Atlanta event? It's a good portion. All right, so if you would for me, if you raised your hand, you would just stand, just give me what your name is, where you're coming from, and what encouraged you to come out tonight. I would greatly appreciate it. Just start from any side.
Evening, everyone. I'm Courtney Wright. I work here at State Farm. And my mentor invited me.
Yeah, I'm Brian Shaw Carnegie, and I too work here at State Farm, software developer. And I kind of heard about the BDPA. I just never attended the event, and that's all we're talking about. Let me just come through and see what you guys do. Good to be here. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
My name is Kelsey. I'm a student at Creative Circus. My classmate Cassandra told me about this meetup, but she has another one to go to, so I'm here to say.
She's going to technology as a player.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. We support that group too. So.
Andrew Murphy worked actually far from there. Average software developer. I just really wanted to check it out.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Nicole Carr. I work for a technology company in Alpharetta. Actually, have known about BDPA since about '99. I moved away from Atlanta, came back, but I was always on the email distribution, so I decided to join the meeting.
Great, thank you.
I'm Jan Blackman. I found out about this recently from the poll. So I wanted to come out and, network with people, learn a little bit more about the community. That's what it is.
Thank you, Brad.
Hi, my name is Bridget Collier. I'm currently working at Emory University. I'm looking. I do IT procurement, asset management for the organization. I just recently got a board position from ISSA, which is Information System Security Associate, Information System Security Association. So I'm director of communication for that. I love anything STEM, anything's going to move my community forward. I learned about the script from Facebook. I post a lot of postings in the group, trying to keep people abreast of what's happening and tech-wise in my community. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here to, if there's anything else, just to share it with my LinkedIn or my Facebook group, and just try to keep parents and adults aware of what's happening. And so, I want the new jobs that are coming here to be filled with people who look like me. I'm in more TAG, I'm in a couple other groups, National Black Engineering Association, a couple other things, but my passion is, I think, is going to be STEM and making sure the next one behind me has a better TAG.
Amen.
Definitely. I thank all of you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Put your hands up. Yes. Almost forgot.
I'm Frances Lewis. I've been on the mailing list for a very long time, and my friend here, Michael, just reminded me last week when I ran into him after I don't know how many years, and then I accidentally sat next to him again. I didn't realize that was him. So that's pretty cool. But I've always wanted to become a member, and just never found the time when you get busy with work. And right now I'm in between jobs. I'm looking to, I'm a database administrator. And I remember years ago when I was looking, a friend told me about BDPA, and I just never got around to joining. So I said, well, I don't have any reason not to go. So here I am.
That's great. All right, so actually, I guess I didn't give enough of my background. So again, Victor Montgomery. I am an IT manager here at State Farm, and your Oracle DBA is what called it out in me. So I manage Oracle DBAs as well as SQL Server DBAs. My role will change shortly to a different focus. However, still connected with that space. So definitely, let's connect and have a conversation. In addition to doing the work here at State Farm, I'm also in the OMSCS program at Georgia State. So that's seeking my online master's in computer science. I said Georgia State, didn't I? My bad. This is a Georgia Tech alumni. She was gonna crush me back there. Buzz, I'm all for Buzz. I'm all for it. No. Georgia Tech.
She should have, right?
Yeah.
But I am a Georgia State alum, so.
I love Georgia State too.
That's my own.
Yeah. So at Georgia Tech, I'm really excited about technology. Anything technology, I love getting exposure to it. I love being involved in it. I'm not one that focuses on any particular thing. Anything that could move me, that can inspire me, I'm all for doing it. And I heard the word membership mentioned, so I will flash this across screen. If you're interested in becoming a member of BDPA, you can go out to bdpa.org. Under membership, there's a link that says become a member. These are the fees for membership, as you can see here on the screen. And as I mentioned, it doesn't cost you to come to the monthly event. We utilize membership dues in order to support some of our STEM programs as well as the things that we do here for professionals. Typically, our speakers are doing it from a volunteer standpoint, so we don't have to pay speakers most of the time. But your dues go towards our support of our students. And we'll get to a little bit more about that soon.
So the full membership, if you join the national organization, does that also include the non-organization?
Yes, yes. So when you go in and you join through bdpa.org and you select which membership you would like to do, so you do full member, and then they will ask you what chapter, and based on your address, sometimes they pre-populate that to the Atlanta chapter, And then they'll also ask, what region are you a part of? So for Atlanta, we're part of the South region. Great question.
One thing that add also is, possibility that your company or organization you're affiliated to may also pay for your membership. So that'd be something to look
Yes.
into if they're sponsoring. Yeah.
Definitely. So, I'm fortunate enough, as well as some others in this room, that are State Farm employees, to have had our membership sponsored for a number of years. So that's something that you can definitely check with your organization. And if there's information you would like for me to provide to you that would help you sell it to your organization even further, just definitely let me know and I can send you that information. Our annual technology conference. This year it will be held in New Orleans from August 9th through August 11th. And this is always a great time for us to come together. We have multiple companies present that are part of a career fair. There are lots of talks that happen during this time as well. So it's a large professional development activity. But for me, the highlight of doing this is the students that we train January through August, they have a competition here. So 5 of the students participated in the competition. Last year, we took over 20 students with us to Cincinnati. So it gave them exposure to the city as well as to different forms of technology, to companies. It allowed them to go out and mingle not only with peers, but as well as professionals. So they just become more comfortable. But when I say competition, so last year we came in 2nd place. That was great. So each student gained a $2,500 scholarship. So we had 5 students. Each student got $2,500. The prior 2 years, we came in 1st place. 1 year for 1st place, we got $3,000 scholarship for each student. And 1 year, we got $3,500 for each student. So there are students that were on all 3 teams. So you can just see what those scholarship dollars were looking like for those students. So we're investing a lot of time in our students, and it's for a purpose. They get to have a knowledge and a skill set that they can take with them into college. But if they're on the competition team, they also can win scholarship dollars, which is really important to us.
So also those that participate in the mobile competition, they also get money towards scholarships as well.
Yeah, so we actually had a mobile application competition winner last year as well, and I believe he received $7,000 for his. So it's a pretty good penny for a mobile app that you would have done on your own anyway. I'm going to skip past our sponsors because we're always looking for more, and right now we actually only have 1 active sponsor. So I'm still looking. So if you're a company, as you hear information and you think something's valuable, if they're interested in sponsoring, let me know and I can give you additional information to share with your network. So our sites in HSCC, so that's what I was just mentioning. These are our students. We have 60 plus students at 2 sites. Our parents are hyper involved. Some of them volunteer to help teach. Some of them are just here as a motivator. They sit around and they watch. But it's inspiring because sometimes we don't get parental buy-in. So when they leave from with us, they don't do the assignments that we maybe give them that's during the school week. They just forget about it. But when you know that there's a possibility for your child to join a competition team, or I didn't mention this, everything's free. Everything, the transportation, housing, food, it's all free. We do that through our membership dues, as well as going out to find sponsorship dollars. It's all free for the students. So even if you're not a part of that competition team, especially this year, I know I have a native New Orleans back there, so I'm going to connect with her and make sure she takes me to all the good spots while I'm there. But they're going to have an amazing time. They're going to be able to be tourists and learn about technology. So I'm excited about that, and hopefully you guys will get excited about that our young people will get to experience that at no expense to them. So that's pretty exciting.
I have a question.
Yes.
How are the students selected?
So for the last 3 years, it's been word of mouth. Word of mouth and people hearing about it, and they're telling their friends, they're telling so-and-so at the downtown campus. we've got engaged with a lot of the schools in the area, and they've been able to kind of send students our way. For this location, it's been a lot of word of mouth, a lot of word of mouth. Now, we want to expand to engage in more of the schools, but you can only imagine, so every week when they come here, we want them to feel safe, and we want to ensure that they're fed, so we provide all of that. So we give them food and everything, so we cover it. It would be hard for us to cover a lot of expenses, so we're trying not to get too many. I would like to see this entire room filled with students, but we just have to get to the point where we can support it. The educators, they're here. So, I mean, if I'm on this screen or that screen, I can teach. We have volunteers like Shanika here who walk around and ensure that they're able to understand and comprehend what the instructors are teaching. But it's really the financial piece that limits us from engaging more. So the minute that we have enough within our bank account to help support more kids, we're all over like actually going into the schools, because we've gotten to 75 students really by word of mouth.
What age group?
I would say it's majority high school students, but it's basically 6th through 12th grade. We have 6th graders that are in here as well, very talented young people. One of the guys, just a story, one of the guys that are on the competition team right now, I've seen him, since I've been a member of BDPA. He was probably about 8 years old, rolling around at the other State Farm building on skates. And now he's a member of the competition team, and he's 11. So he's very talented. So that's amazing. And one thing I didn't mention, Nisha.
I would say, I don't know if you're getting to the question of how they selected for the competition. Is that
No,
what
no,
you-
no, no, it's how the students, how the students.
So,
And one thing I didn't mention, we do have former BDPA president here, Derek Brown. There he is right there. That's him. He's back there hiding, So Derek took that competition thing to the next level, and I inherited it and trying to keep it going. But he's seen a lot of these kids come through from yay high, and they get onto that competition team and they show out.
Watching those kids succeed is about the best part of getting involved in the program.
Yeah.
Like Victor said, we've grown from maybe 10, 15 kids to 75. It's an incredible accomplishment. But we can't do it without your support, without your participation. We want to have almost 5,000 kids. We talk about that.
Yeah.
But, that's a skill to climb. But with your support, you never know what we can do.
Yeah. So it's definitely an amazing program. And I can talk about that all day. But I will move forward with that. So really, that's just the introduction to BDPA and the services we provide. So next month, we will have a conversation. So no, this is not the end. That was just the beginning. Next month, we will have a conversation on blockchain. So we try to alternate through, maybe soft skill, competency-based discussions, through very technical discussions and everything in between. So we definitely want to get you great exposure to different avenues of what can help support you in your career. Now, the other piece is that we definitely want you to be engaged. So this part of the conversation right now is Black History Month, all right? So just by show of hands, I'm interested. Who in this room has not seen Black Panther? We got three. That's not bad. Now, out of you three, are you planning on seeing it? Do you mind me talking about it just a little bit? Or okay. All right. So, just by show of hands, your favorite character in the movie. Well, actually, you yell it out. Yell out who's your favorite character on 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's too hard.
The general was all rich. That was sweet. I heard Killmonger back there. So no. Me and my son, we said that at the same time. They said, "Who's her favorite character?" We both Killmonger, right? And you like, why? Why Killmonger? He's a villain. Was Killmonger really a villain? I'm just curious. Who believes Killmonger was a villain?
He's a villain and
You think he was a villain?
He was evil as hell. You know,
He was violent.
Yeah, so based on the movie, based on the movie,
he shot his girlfriend in the head.
Right.
He did.
He popped up.
She was a
He was
And
violent,
she said,
but
thank you for the bullet, bro.
But he had a mission. He had a mission.
He had a mission.
And I like the way they tied it back to the
But I mean, I'm not trying to describe about him, but all modern villains, when they're written well, are nuanced.
Yeah.
He's got a reason for what he's doing.
Right,
We get that.
right.
But what you can't forget is he shot his woman in the head. You know? But he was flawed.
Yeah, nobody confirmed that was his girl. She was just a criminal with
They were fighting each other. We're fighting, the cultures fighting each other, and I see that in everyday life, and it's conflict and made me sad.
It did.
It was not a happy movie for me. It was an emotional movie for me.
It was definitely emotional.
A lot of Civil War.
A lot of Civil War. Now, was it interesting that in the end, what Killmonger was fighting for, they didn't go as far as him,
Right.
but they basically began to go in that direction. It was a very interesting movie. I can't wait to see the next 15 they bring out to make more money. Yeah, you got to analyze that thing. So for me, Killmonger was a cool dude. He was a cool dude. So with that in mind, Black History Month. All right. So who likes Amazon? Anybody like Amazon? Who? Yeah, Amazon.com. Everybody like Amazon. I buy my bed from there now. I don't go out for nothing. All right, so I have a $25 gift card here from Amazon. All right. So I'm hoping my computer does not fail me right now, because I would love to give this away. And what I need you to do, who knows about Kahoot? Kahoot. So who has a mobile device? You have a mobile device? If you would please for me type in kahoot.it while I get my other computer connected here, I would greatly appreciate it.
How to spell
KAHOOT.it.
Is your app?
No, I didn't create this one. This is out there. All right. Did everyone get to Kahoot? Let me know when you're in by a show of hands, just so I know that everybody's there. Bahama Mama. Who's Bahama Mama?
oh, it's probably Misha.
Anybody want to own up to Bahama Mama? Trying to see the unique name. I don't know, I think we should just guess whose name is it. All right, is everybody good? Everybody Kahoot.it, you got the code?
Oh, neat.
Okay, I'll wait because I want everybody to get an opportunity to win. I feel like I should be doing some dancing right now. Anybody need help? Got it? No, you can just put the code in, the pin right here, 39519. All right, just as an FYI, you only have 20 seconds to answer the question. So I want you to know that just in case you're taking an extended amount of time.
Do you need help?
Only 10 questions as well. You do get a bonus for consecutive answers. The questions are not extremely difficult, but you know, it's just something to keep your brain power right. Ladies, good. That's all. You see, I just hit mute when it didn't work. You could have just broke out and danced though. I know you know how to hit it. Who feels like a winner? Who thinks they're going to take it? All right, let's get this party started. All right. I think we're ready. You ready? Let's start.
Network is slow.
And you get more points if you answer faster than everyone else.
The BDPA
Wait, mine's not doing it.
question.
Oh, okay.
Dang.
See the question. Oh, we gotta do it on the screen. Oh, I did it. Wait, this is way back. Come on, y'all better do
All right, so we good now? So the question, so I'm going to show symbols on the screen. You got to press the symbols. Oh, the question. Okay, the question pops up on the screen.
On your screen.
Your screen. Oh, you were looking at,
Yeah.
that's my bad.
That's my fault.
The question will pop up on this screen, and you answer. That's all right, Courtney gonna miss the next one on purpose, so you guys will have a chance.
No.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Hold on. It's good, so we're at Kahoot.it, and they're just taking a quick Black History quiz. Oh.
Okay, mine thing did come up to make me. So it came back to this one, and I was up there. But he was spinning saying, checking nicknames. But I did see my.
Does anybody remember that?
39519.
39519.
395.
You right.
Yeah, it's on screen too.
Maybe when I go to the next question. Okay. 39519.
Oh man.
Oh, you said where?
Yes.
Oh, about that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the score for the board.
I remember that.
One more time, 39519.
519.
39519. Good to go. All right, let's see who's winning. Courtney, did you answer that one wrong on purpose?
Sure. I think I'm feeling pretty good.
She did answer it wrong though.
I got the question wrong.
So she helped y'all out, so now we
Hang on though. I'm gonna see the question.
How fast you can answer it?
How fast you
How
can
the
answer?
process of it?
how fast you
Because everybody
answer.
else got it wrong before.
Fast and correct. Right. The last one I was correct and I answered it.
Oh, timing. Okay.
Yeah, time matters.
And bear in mind, you have network latency around here, so some of y'all gonna get kicked to the back anyway.
Y'all ready? Here we go. I know y'all got this.
Okay, who's that?
Damn, but I think I'm in second. I'm in second.
All right, here goes the next question. Next question.
Oh, I know this one. Oh, I thought I knew this. I thought it was It was a woman.
Right, it was.
What did she serve?
Yes.
Okay.
How old was it?
I got that one.
Figure, I thought the questions were hard.
Y'all ready? Somebody's getting them right.
Why did you
I know know this is gonna be a conflict right
I
here.
guess you
This is gonna be a conflict. I can see the two people gonna put.
I want to change my hand.
Oh, man.
I want to change my hand.
I knew Sydney Portier, a lot of people. All right, next question. Oh, Courtney called back up. I see.
Sixth place, dang. Shot all the way to the back.
Here's the next question. Sarah Good was the first African American woman to receive a patent. What did she invent?
Oh.
Who knew we got the patent for the folding bed? Yeah.
That's just something, man.
So just roll that bed up.
Man.
This is a gimme.
Black rights words. I don't know. Yeah, it sounds horrible. Oh, man.
Okay, we got one more question. And oh, it's a close score. All right, Courtney, are you gonna hold down?
I'm gonna try.
This is about speed now. This is about speed. Yeah, I just saw that. You know, that's how you know that one's not right. Mama wins it. Bahama Mama, come on up.
She has a boot on.
I'll get it after. Bahama Mama is walking home with a $25 gift card to Amazon.
What's the second and third?
Oh, the second and third place. We got an excellent clap for you.
Thank you.
I almost forgot I didn't have it. All right, so that was just something for us to engage with one another, have a good time, and appreciate Black History Month. I mean, there's a lot going on in our nation, but we understand what our contributions have been, and we don't want to shortcut it. So I just wanted to have a little bit of fun in the middle of this. So now I will spend just a couple of minutes with you on our presentation. And again, we are looking to grow our chapter. We're looking to have more events. So by all means, if you signed in today, which I hope everyone will have an opportunity to sign in, if you're interested in speaking, or if you know someone that's dynamic that you would love to speak and get in front of this group as we continue to grow, definitely recommend them to us. As I mentioned before, we're always looking for members, but beyond that, we're always looking for you. So if you can't become a member today, tomorrow, next week, next month, don't allow that to cause you not to show back up. As I mentioned, next month we will be doing a discussion on blockchain. I would love to see all of you here. So I just wanted to put that out there before I get into my short presentation. There go my twin right there. See? So today's presentation, today's presentation is all about branding. This is called the 3 W's in You. All right, so really quickly, we're going to go over who do you say you are, what do others say you are, and what actions drive your brand. All right, really important. We're having a discussion earlier today during the mingling portion from 6 to 6:30. I just want to throw that out to you. From 6 to 6:30, we have some just open dialogue amongst one another. But we're just having a conversation today in regards to interviewing and kind of the impacts of that. But one thing I told the group is I wanted to be very transparent about this organization. All right? So this organization, as an organization, goes through these same things. Who do we say we are? What do others say we are? And what actions drive our brand? All right, so I'm going to get into the organization just a little bit here, and then we're going to get into you. So excited to have Derek here. Under Derek's leadership, I mean, we were at about 150 members within BDPA Atlanta. It was really exciting. These are people that actually paid to be a part of the group. Right now, today, we're at about 54 members. All right, so what does that mean? I mean, there was something that we were pushing out that we thought was valuable that really wasn't valuable. And it showed in the response that we got from the people that we thought we were serving. All right? So what was that? We had a high focus on professional development. High focus. We ensured that we were getting in front of the group, that we were bringing speakers that would speak on relevant technical topics, and we were doing that every month. Derek was driving himself crazy, reaching out to speakers and bringing companies in, getting sponsors. It was exciting, but at the same time, it was taxing on the body, on the mind. It was hard work. So what we decided to do was take a step back, let some of that go and focus on our high school students. It was great for us, and as I mentioned earlier, we grew the high school brand tremendously. Just through word of mouth, we're able to go from 10 to 15 to 75. All right? It was great focus, great impact there. Now we feel like we're at a place where we've been able to sustain. There's actually an entirely different group, the Tobri over there, Shanika here, that helps drive a lot of what goes on with the high school students. So it allows me an opportunity to step back into this space where we can begin to focus again on professional development in you. So that's kind of where the organization is. I just wanted to get that out because I do believe in transparency. If you don't know, it's because I didn't say it, and I believe it's valuable to get this information in front of you because you're the ones that can help me change our branding problem as an organization. You can go out and have conversations within your organization about whatever value it is you feel you may have gotten out of engaging different people here. And it's not only from the topics that we talk about, but it's from talking to one another. For those of you that are looking for work, networking in here to figure out, okay, who's available in here that can assist in that regard. For those of you that are very skilled, whether it's in interviewing, whether it's in some technical topic, being able to engage others in here to share your experience. So we're really excited about where we're going as an organization, but now let's just talk about you. So if I throw out a word like web browser, what would you say? Internet Explorer, you said who? Chrome, Firefox. You know, Internet Explorer, probably 4 or 5 years ago, everybody probably would have said Internet Explorer, right? So now there's a lot of other web browsers that are coming into play to kind of take over that. If I say pain medication, what would you say? If I say headache, what would you say? Tylenol is probably predominant. For those of us that get some of those extreme migraines, what would you say? Excedrin, yeah. Yeah, that's where it's at. If I were to say paper towel, what would you say? Bounty does a good job with its branding, right? If I were to say web search, what would you say? Google. Is that the only one? You know, so it's all about branding. So we all understand what good branding does. You want to be top of mind when someone is thinking about something that happens to be relevant to you. All right? So who's skilled in, just throw out a skill that you have, anybody. Throw out a skill. Data analytics, right? So if you were at your company and someone mentioned data analytics and needing assistance, would you be a name that came to mind? If you were at your company and someone was going out to interview, maybe within your company, they're going to interview, and they're like, oh, I need someone to mock interview me. If that's your skill set, would you come to mind? Would they reach out for you? All right, so what we sometimes do, who knows what this car is?
A ridiculous amount of money.
It is. Yeah, it's a Bugatti. I didn't know what it was. I went out there and I said, give me expensive cars. And they showed me these lovely things that, you know, that had a price tag of $2 million on it. And then some guy out there had a gold one of these. I'm not going to say his name. It almost blinded me. That was $2.7 million. And I was like, that's crazy for a vehicle. But that's how some of us see ourselves. Like when we're in our mind, when we're thinking about our expertise, we're seeing Bugatti. We're like, oh no, we're at the top of the echelon of what's happening out there. When I think about myself, right, and I'll be vulnerable in front of you because I feel like we're all friends, right? Okay, so I have a technical background. I was encouraged, or some would say pushed, into HR for a little bit of time, just so I could develop my leadership skills. And then I came back into IT, all right? When I went into HR, I had no clue of what I was doing. But if you were to talk to me while I was there, oh, I was a Bugatti. I sit down and I'm like, oh, you have this problem? Let me guide you to where you need to go. Oh, you need assistance with interviewing. Come to my office, sit right here. I'm going to help you get every job that you ever thought you wanted. Like in my head, that's just where I was. I was very confident. Now, my skill set didn't match my confidence at that time, but we eventually got there. All right? So we have to be aware of this. All right? We have to be aware of that. Are we walking around with a Bugatti mindset and a Honda skill set? Right? It's just self-awareness. There's nothing wrong with that because it's great to be confident. All right? You just have to ensure you understand the blind spots in your confidence. All right? So this is where I do my station identification, health check. So does anybody have any situation or any experience, personally or observed, where you're like, man, I was walking around like a Bugatti. I was a Movado watch, but really I was that bubblegum machine thing that, you know, get wet and it just goes away. Anybody have any experiences like that that they could share? I have plenty. And I don't mind being vulnerable. But again, I said this is an engaging thing and we want to learn more about each other.
I don't think of it that way.
Okay.
I think of it as a learning process. and learning, where your weaknesses and strengths are. I would like to be a better public speaker. Sometimes I get flustered or hide or I speak too fast. And then sometimes I want to go back to class at Toastmaster. So I look at it as not as a weakness, it's something I'm working on for Bridget to improve her, and then we come forward.
I love that. Anyone else in here has any issues with public speaking?
Oh, public speaking, yeah.
Speaking this one, that's pretty
In
much.
my head, it sounds real good.
That's pretty much everyone.
In my head.
So this is something that I picked up on, and definitely that's something that if you want to work on personally, that's something you should do. However, I think we need to embrace what's unique about ourselves as well. So sometimes it's not that you need to go and work on this particular thing. Sometimes it's just you need to be confident in the fact that you are who you are, and that's who you're going to present. Whether or not someone is attracted to that particular style, that way, that's on them. Because there are some things about yourself that you're just never going to be able to change. But I've worked on my public speaking, and I can get better every single day. I haven't arrived, but I just want to throw that out there because sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves in regards to things that we feel other people feel about what we're doing. That's not actual. Ms. Shields. This is our vice president, by the way. We didn't get a chance to introduce everyone. Hopefully we'll be able to do that towards the end, but this is our VP of BDPA Atlanta.
I have to laugh at your example because I thought I was the best interviewer in the world. You couldn't tell me I couldn't prep anybody for interviewing. But then I had to be interviewed. I loved it. I mean, I couldn't practice my own principles. And it's like I got nervous. Everything I tell people not to do, there I was. So, but I can prep anybody. But do it yourself. Self-awareness is...
Anyone else have that particular problem? So maybe not with interviewing, but when you're trying to execute something that you've taught or trained someone else on many times, when you do it, it's like, oh man, everything just goes blank. I've done it. So I want you guys to just think about that, though. So not that any particular height of thought is wrong. It's just be aware of it. Be aware of it. Now, the other thing is, what do others say you are? All right. So there's nothing wrong with this Toyota. Actually, if I could get that Toyota, I would get it and I would drive it until the wheels fell off, right? However, you just need to be aware of what others are thinking when you're walking around in your Bugatti. And not that they're saying you are a crumpled old car, they're just saying you're a Toyota. Go ahead.
This sounds like perception.
Perception. That's where we're about to go. And a lot of this is all about perception. So we're going to get there. Because really it's about, that kind of hits on what we were just going over in regards to the speech piece as well. It's all about perception. And it's all about managing that perception. So I have an employee. It's hard to describe him in words, but he's an antsy guy. He's very energetic, and he wants to go after everything full throttle. So we have SLAs and things like that we have to follow. Whenever a business partner communicates with him, and it's outside of that SLA, like he just wants to fire off and correct them in regards to the SLA, which is fine. It's well within his rights. It's SLAs, and these are things that they have to adhere to. But there's that one magic question I always ask him. What work are you currently doing that's keeping you from doing this work right now? And he always responds with the same, and he hasn't learned yet, but he always responds with the same thing. Well, nothing, but it's the SLA. And so I asked him one critical question. If you want to be known as a butthole your entire career, like you could do that right now, and you can continue to fight, right? But if you want to build a great brand and credibility as someone that people can go to when they really need it, and you have the availability to do that now, you probably want to do it. But I will leave it up to you to make that decision And if I happen to hear in the circle of fashion that someone has an issue with you, then I kind of know what decision you made. But I'll leave it up to you. Like, take control of your own career, right? I didn't hear about it. He showed me the email that he sent afterwards, and I was proud of him, right? So I'm not going to try to direct you on which way you should take it because your career is your career, right? I can only be a guide for you and try to be a buffer where necessary. But if you want to jump off that cliff, I can tell you not to. But at the end of the day, you have to be the one to work every day. So if you don't want people contacting you, then you can send them an email. They'll probably never contact you again, but you'll probably never get a promotion. All right, that's just the reality of it because word spreads. And where you think people don't have connections, they do. All right, so we just want to be aware of the perception that we're putting out there. Right? It's highly important that we manage that. I mean, perception is probably more critical than even your skill set, I would venture to say. You know, now, I'm one that loves skilled people, but the perception of what you can do is critical. Another example, within my organization, we have multiple ways that you can get promoted and you can move into leadership and you can do other things. And anyone who's been in a professional environment for any amount of time knows typically you're going around and you're mingling and you're meeting with a lot of different people. You're letting them get to know you, you get to know them, and you just build your network. So when you need to reach out for something, you could point to those people and they got you. Recently, majority of the people within my network decided to retire. You know, some of those people may even be sitting in the room. You know, so what happens is that all of that energy you invested in that group is now gone. So you're kind of back at the starting board, right? So your perception matters because word's going to float around, you know, to those new people, and that's going to make Courtney.
We talk about perception. You talk about, I think of myself as a Bugatti, but really you might be, the '96 Honda Accord.
I'm the Toyota. That's like 2017 right there.
The Yaris,
No, I'm
Toyota.
joking. I'm joking. Go ahead.
What about for the folks, and I feel like we're minorities in the room, so I feel like I can say this, especially women. I know like a lot of minority women experience like imposter syndrome. So what if you think you're the Toyota and it turns out you really aren't the Bugatti? But like everybody else knows it and you know. And you have you just struggle with that. Like other people are constantly, commending you for your work and really pumping you up, and you're not seeing the vision.
Anybody want to touch that?
Sometimes just that, but sometimes they walk around unaware that you made, like you say, you have the Bugatti, and I'm thinking you're agreed to get to the top, to the hill, and you're like, I'm just regular, like you, I'm not that. But they start to feel threatened by that. I'm thinking, I'm just part of the team. I'm not running after your job. We ain't going to the same places. We don't be the same people. I'm not doing golf with the president on the weekend. I let the, Chuck E. Cheese with kids. So how do you deal with that?
I just want to make sure I'm clear. You're saying that you are the Bugatti from other people's perspective, but from your own perspective, you're the Honda.
Yeah, so it's like you just maybe, I'm not going to say you don't have confidence in yourself, but you just constantly saying, I know that I can be better or I have to do better, where it's like you may have already reached that sort of point in your career, and other people, and not even just your career, maybe academia or whatever, other people see that in you, and people are constantly, commending you and letting you know, like, hey, you're really making a great contribution to the team, you're really an asset to the team, and like you said, you're kind of just like, oh, I'm just feeling regular, I'm not feeling like I'm doing anything, extraordinary, where others, may see that in you, you just don't see it in yourself.
And I know we have a lot of experience in the room, so I don't feel like I need to talk towards everything. So,
let me just take a stab at it. Because we are sometimes challenged by the words we tell ourselves, and that recording in our head sometimes defines who we are just with ourselves, but not necessarily with other people. If there was an answer to that, one approach approach that comes to mind is whether it's really getting an assessment from somebody who can give you an honest and objective, I guess an adjustment, honest and objective, I don't know if I want to say opinion, but I guess it comes down to that. And begin to, the answer that comes to mind is absorb, at least be receptive to what they're telling you. And of course, ideally, is that they're telling you the things that are in line with the perception that is already defined about you, that you don't quite have clear within yourself, ideally. But at the same time, I also know that sometimes it is important to be objective to the criticism as well, without necessarily allowing that to define who you are either. So that balance is kind of tough, but it takes.
Well, we build on what he said. I mean, in my years of management experience, I've run into a lot of Bugattis who really are Bugattis, and the funny thing about it is it goes back to the message that Rick was trying to push out in terms of understanding yourself and brand, understanding yourself and self-perception, a critical thinking exercise. And we often enough don't do it, especially when you're in the middle of the rat race going day by day. You need to ask yourself who, what, when, where, how, and why about yourself on a constant career basis. If you're in the middle of the workplace and you don't see yourself getting to where you need to be, then ask why. If people keep telling you you're a Bugatti, but you feel like a Toyota, is that a question you address for yourself? It's often enough we keep going every day and we don't ask ourselves what's going on. So we miss our self-brand, we miss our self-perception. We don't understand that we could get to the next level because we're already ready. Now, some people may have been telling us this, but what we often miss, when you have that self-perception piece in place, is who's checking for me. And so you need a coach, you need a mentor, and more importantly, especially for minorities, you need an advocate. You need someone in the workplace who, when you're not there, they're at the table talking about you. It really doesn't matter if the whole team is saying you're the guy and the person that's over in the corner office isn't, because nothing will happen for you. And if you're satisfied being in your space, then that's just fine for the next 15 years. Or you can jump out and go someplace else. But if the day comes and you wait, I'm the guy, but I keep getting treated like a Toyota, then you grab pen and paper. Don't use the laptop, get pen and paper and do the critical thinking exercise. And start to resolve the questions around you. Know who you are, then start selling your brand, and then go find someone that can sell it for you.
I've actually seen people behind it escalate because they told them something.
Yeah. And so here's the other piece. I wrote this word on the board because it's something that's close to me. I'm a very humble person. That's just how I approach life, right? And sometimes our humility gets in the way of our success, all right? And I've just recently had to begin to tell myself, look, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. I know my skill set. I know my worth. I know my value. I know what I contribute. I know the worth of what I contribute, all right? And I can start to speak on those things confidently, right, without feeling a certain way now, right? I just put it out there in the air, and I just let it float, and I see what happens, all right? Because my humility sometimes crippled me from being able to express who I truly am, all right? Yeah, and the true value, because I always wanted to downplay it. Say, oh, let me just fit in well with everyone, right? And the truth of it is the organizations that I've been fortunate enough to work for, I've never owned. I don't own any of them, all right? So why am I trying to downplay my skill set in a place where I don't have ownership? Doesn't make sense, all right? So humility, is great. So, and I always tell people this, for my people, I will be as humble, I will be a great advocate, I would jump off the cliff for you, I would do whatever I have to. But for an organization, it's a business transaction. Like, you pay me to do a job, I do a job, you pay me. If anything in the middle of that, which pay was in the middle of everything, happened to go away, we wouldn't exist together, all right? So that's the reality of it all. So I would say for anyone, when you think about it, when you absorb it, if humility is a roadblock for you, think about it. Get a coach. Figure out how you can begin to brand yourself a little differently. And sometimes it's difficult to build a good brand, depending on where you're coming from. All right. And again, there you go.
Is humility knowing that you have a Bugatti engine under the Toyota, but you're laying low as if you're a Toyota?
Man, like you can rev this thing up whenever you want to, but you just pressing the gas real light. You know, you don't want people to know that you could go from, I think it said from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds or something. It was crazy. If anybody want to donate one of those to me, I will freely accept it. Okay, let's go here and then we'll come back to you.
Okay, so my question is that she may be a Bugatti, but she doesn't feel like a Bugatti. Is it possible she doesn't feel like a Bugatti because she's not where she wants to be just yet, and so she's leaving room so she can grow? Because everybody's saying she's Bugatti. It's like, let's say she's, I don't know, in her circle of friends or family, she's highly admired because she's successful and so forth, but she's like, yeah, thanks, but I'm not where I want to be. So it may have to do with the fact that she's leaving room for growth. She's not satisfied where she is. While she may be that Bugatti, maybe she wants to go. That's kind of how I see it too.
You always work the job that you want to get.
Yeah.
Even if you're in a current job, you're going to do the work. You're going to do some kind of, you're going to show them something to say, hey, I want to go here.
Yeah.
You're thinking the next step. You're not thinking totally just where you're at.
I just wanted to comment. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. Derek. The comment that Derek made was that it's incorrect if I'm mistaken, but you really need to have someone who will speak for you when you can't speak for yourself. When I started in this career, it was not uncommon that you work 30 years, you get a pension, and you retire. That's not the situation. Most people stay 5 years, 6 years, and then move on to something else. And companies, their loyalty to you is from the 1st to the 15th. They will cut you because they're not meeting your numbers, not because you're not doing work, not because you're not a Bugatti, it's because they didn't meet their numbers. And nobody was in that room who could speak up for you. So get your mentor, have someone who can speak for you. Very important.
That's life. Good feedback, good comment. Any other comments? All right, so we went through kind of your perception of yourself. We went through others' perceptions of you. And the last thing that we want to touch on is, what are your actions? All right? So sometimes people may even see you a certain way, but internally, the actions that you're committing to doesn't even represent how people perceive you. All right? What do I mean by that? So, let's say, and I heard a comment over here about room for growth. All right, and I just want to take a step back, peel the onion a little bit. I'm one of those people that fit that description to a T. I came from very, very humble, or humble, depending on where you're coming from, beginnings. Grew up in Chicago, very, very low income family. I don't even know if we were poor. We were probably somewhere very beneath it. Saw and experienced many things in life. Murder, rape. Majority of my whole family were in gangs. A lot of them were on welfare. Right? I even tried it before. I tried to get some for me when I was in college, and they denied me. And I guess it was just God intervention because all of my friends went and got it. I tried to get it, and I was the poorest of them all. And they said no. All right? And I guess that was just for testimony. However, when I graduated college, I wanted to show everyone. I got a decent job. I came from the project, so I wanted to show my family, hey, we can do things. I was first generation college graduate. I went out and bought a house within 5 months of graduating college. I didn't have anyone to say, really, save money. Get a down payment so you don't have to pay PMI. I was able to afford it. It didn't hurt me much. So for 5 years, every month, I gave an additional $232, I remember it like it's yesterday, to Chase Bank for no reason, for 5 years. When I could have waited an additional 6 months, saved money, and had enough down payment to not have to do that. All right? So sometimes when we jump ahead of where we truly are, our actions, because people saw me as successful. I came from nothing, and here I was, graduated college, had a job offer before I graduated. So people's perception of me was that I had it all right. Any decision I made was the best decision. And that's what I told myself in my head until I grew old enough to see, man, you were dumb, right? I mean, and sometimes that has to be the reality, and you have to share that knowledge. It was just a really bad mistake. Now when I'm mentoring younger people who are in similar situations, coming from similar backgrounds, and they're going into that situation like, oh man, I'm about to go get this car, I'm gonna get that. Pump the brakes, man. That old car you have that's kind of breaking down, that's good. It still gets you from A to B. Who are you trying to impress? Right? How about in 10 years you begin to impress people? 20 years, impress people. Today, let's learn how to live. All right? So our actions sometimes do not even meet up with the perceptions that people have for us. So when we go back to that initial conversation around perception, this all surrounds perception. Perception is what drives this. So perception is what will drive you. As I mentioned, I'm in a master's program at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech. You know? Make sure I get that out so I don't get jumped after this. But in that program, I've been exposed to some things that just opened my mind in regards to industries that we have not begun to penetrate. I'm like, why not? Why not? We definitely should be doing that. My actions are definitely about to change. My desires, my motivations, they're changing, right? The kids that I code with, oh, they're getting introduced to things that could make them money today. Why? Because it's valuable and it's fun. Like when we're doing what we love, it's fun. And when you're doing it with the people you love, that makes it even better, right? And I will get on one of Derek's moves and you're like, okay, there's no reason why all of us in the room couldn't formulate something right now that could change our lives. I'll save that for the next one. But I saw your hand.
No, I was just curious when you said industry, are you talking about technical industry or you're talking about like the commercial industry, like for example, healthcare versus transportation?
You hit right on what I love now. I mean, I'm not in healthcare right now, but I love healthcare because there's opportunity there. But on the technical side of healthcare, you know, it's right. It's right. We just have to figure out the right ways to approach it, you know, and partner with the right people to do those things. You know, so and I know that's a big word. Sometimes that's a little foreign to us, you know, but partnership is important. So I do want to open it up. We only have a few more minutes left, you know, to general discussion. But again, I really, truly appreciate you guys coming out to the kickoff. As I mentioned, our plan is to have very technical-driven conversations, and then we'll always get into some general dialogue just to hear the state of where you're at. I love to hear problems that you may have, and as a group, we have group therapy. We'll just figure out how to solve it together. Everyone has experienced something different in their different walks of life. And I'm always open to hearing from everyone. So never feel like your voice is silenced when you're in this room. Do understand that whatever you say outside of that camera pointing directly at me, no one knows who you are. So feel free to give whatever expressions that you so like, and everything is confidential that leaves here. We're not saying, oh, Shelly, and I'm saying Shelly because no one introduced themselves as Shelly, but we're not saying Shelly said this. That's not happening. So with that, any general conversation, any questions, any general dialogue for today? I believe there may even be more pizza out there. I hate taking things home, so please take some if you love it. But any questions, any feedback? I love real-time feedback. So
the membership going from 150 to 50. What think it's all about branding, or what caused that drop off?
So what happens is that it was difficult to host a lot of monthly meetings. Initially, we didn't have a solid location to always have it. So, I mean, the life of a volunteer organization, especially when you're also working, is challenging because you're going out to places and you're trying to get them invested in what you're selling. And you're trying to get them to host you. Hey, can you buy my food? Can you give me a location? Sometimes we'd have it, sometimes we wouldn't. So it just became very inconsistent. So gradually, the attendance started to drop off, and it would be myself, Derek, Shanika, Leonie, and Atobre talking to each other. You know? No, 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 no.
You said something that was surprising to me, so I must say I must have missed the meeting.
No, see, you're all in something else. No, so that's really what it was, is that, you know, gradually over the time, you know, we just dropped off because it wasn't as consistent as it needed to be. So now we're all about being consistent. We got the high school program to a place where it's very consistent. 4 weeks on, 1 week off. 4 hours every Saturday. Solid. They're here, they're there. We have that set. We have enough money right now in our account to at least cover them for the food for those days. So now we're out trying to get donations for the New Orleans trip to at least take 20 to 25 students there, as well as to sustain these monthly meetings. So we don't necessarily have to even always have them here. But this is the only organization that has chosen to sponsor us right now. So,
well, let's lean in a little bit too. You're so nice. You're always so nice. So I think when Vic is mentioning to you guys that, you know, he really needs the feedback, he wants the feedback, you guys got to lean in a little bit. You know, I'm going to lean in a little bit right now, but I want you guys to continue to lean back into it too. You decide what you want the organization to really be for you. We'll be technically centered. You know, we've got the high school component locked in. There's some things folks want to do with the younger kids. But the attrition really came in because there was some other people at the national organization. And when you talk about vision and direction, people weren't sure where we wanted to go. And that's a real difficult thing when, even at the national level, everybody's volunteering. You've got a couple of people that get paid doing this. But if you want to do something like compete with the United Way or compete with any other volunteer organization out there, they all have buildings and things of that nature. And then we had to also step back because we realized that was the wrong thinking anyway. We're not trying to compete with people, to help people. You know, when you come at from a nonprofit perspective, it's the wrong thing to even think. You know, you want to work together. And if you're going to go get that money, then I need to go over here and get this money. Maybe I can help you get that. You help me get this, and we educate some kids. Things like that kind of got turned upside down. And then, of course, it's Atlanta, and y'all didn't want to drive. That was a big component. That's why it always has to come back to it's almost March. As Victor lays out the rest of the year, you guys need to email him and say, I want to come to the event in April, May, and June, and I'm not so hot about the July one. Well, tell him why. Because he wants to meet you.
Have you guys did a survey and asked your members what they wanted?
Yeah, we did that a few times, but you know, sometimes, well, this isn't nonprofits of Atlanta, you know, like Housewives of Atlanta, but this drama. and there was drama, and you know, it gets frustrating. It gets frustrating, but that doesn't mean we don't try again. And so if folks make a commitment to want to engage, then we ask you a question, you give us a cogent answer, we formulate a plan, and we execute as a group.
I mean, I know I at some point in time, I guess in November or maybe October, I was like, you know what, let me join something for Black folks, try to help the youth, STEM, whatever it is. And I joined in October. I guess it was October. I think it was October of 2017. And then there was one meeting, and then there were no more meetings. And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't make it to the first meeting. I think it was the United Way Partnership, whatever was going on. But I think that was more like a social event. And then I didn't see anything else on the calendar. So I was like, well, let me go back to the national organization. I saw that, you know, we're trying to do some things for 2018, like the BDPA Digital initiative that's coming out of the national organization. So, I mean, I reached out to Shanika about a couple of things, but I just didn't see any meetings. So I was just like, man, what's going on with that organization, you know? Yeah. Because some of the other organizations that I'm a part of, I mean, stuff constantly hits your inbox. Like, this is going on, this is going on, this is, and I'm like, wow, why the Black organization is slacking when these other organizations are just, it's just prolific with events and emails and
So the
everything.
question is, how do you know?
I know I was waiting for the meeting, I don't know. I mean, I signed a little document that was going around saying, on the volunteer part, saying yes. I mean, I don't really know what.
But again, when you call out, especially from a time perspective, again, was that era of being disjointed, you know, declaring the direction of where the organization wanted to go as a whole. I think, you know, Victor and I had a conversation about this months ago. One of the main things we know we do well and want to stick with is educate kids in Atlanta. If that's one of the main things we do that's important, it's that. The other stuff was great. I mean, a couple of, maybe 2 or 3 years back, we were really big about trying to get you guys to land jobs if you didn't have one. I mean, we did a whole seminar on your professional brand, your social interaction. We had some VR people coming in. Now, I think what, like one person showed up for the VR thing? There was one, yeah. So again, it made us come back and say, well, are y'all really interested in virtual reality? In some answers we got back, well, you know, you have that thing up the Georgia 400 corridor, and I stay in the SWATs. I'm like, oh, okay, I get that, but are you at work in the 400 corridor when we're having the meeting? And you know, I don't mean to be strident about it, but again, those are some of the real things that will come up. So we started moving it around. Then the complaint would be, you need to have it centrally located. You want me to have it downtown? We did that. But it was still too far to drive from Cascade. I live in Savannah, man. Come on. If you want an organization, you got to put something up.
Before we get out of here, because I know everyone signed in, but sometimes when I go back to the list, it's hard for me to read some of the information that you guys so neatly write on there. So this is my email address directly. Myself, Shanika, Tover, Thiani, we all look at these things. If I can't get to it immediately, I forward it out to someone. Misha back here, she's going to be on and helping us a lot. So if you would take this email address and any feedback that you have, send it to us, and we will definitely address that. And if you're wanting to volunteer, if you happen to know of a speaker, if your company may be interested in sponsoring, or you have your own personal company, you're like, I want to sponsor everything, I'm all for it. Just email me at this email address. If I don't respond immediately, don't charge it to my heart. Just my mind is not working well that day, so email me again, and we will definitely connect. But I really, again, I appreciate and I thank you for coming out. I hope the discussion was valuable for you. I hope you enjoyed the Black History Month quiz. I enjoyed Bahama Mama's win. We're really excited. Again, the national conference, New Orleans this year. I would love it if some of you would be interested in going, but would love to see you there. In addition, if you would like to become a member, definitely I encourage you to do that as well. Invite a friend and tell them to invite a friend. So I will leave you with that. Thank you so much for coming out today. Be honest.